I'm Drew. You guys may remember from last year from Natural Energy Solutions. It's kind of a quick introduction to geothermal. It's meant to be very informal. Natural Energy Solutions, we're based out of Pottsville, Pennsylvania, but geothermal is our only business. Been involved in this industry for quite a long time. We're a family-owned business. GeoPro approved. We're a water furnace dealer. Water furnace is a brand we represent. GeoPro is a status you earn within the organization. It shows a level of professionalism. The GSC professional is, we're very proud of that. GSC is very, very limited in the world. It basically means we've gone through rigorous training, we've gone through rigorous verification, and water furnace will back up our work with 50-year warranties on the earth loop. Okay? So again, it's what we do. The term ICSPA is the International Ground Source Heat Pump Association. It's based at Oklahoma State University. Everybody in our organization is an accredited ICSPA installer. So generally terminology. Terminology in this industry is really important. Although this industry has been around for a long time, we're still playing with words. The word geothermal in itself. Is it geothermal or is it ground source? We call the device a ground source heat pump. Many people call it a geothermal heat pump. Open system versus closed loop, and boreholes versus wells. They're the terms I just want you to remember and kind of learn from this. So starting with that, that's geothermal. Hopefully we will not find that in your yard. If we do, it's probably a water main. That won't be good. But that's geothermal. But as time has evolved, there are geothermal power plants in this country now. So if that's geothermal, that's geothermal. That's a geothermal power plant in California. So when you Google these words and you start seeing the words anymore, just be aware of what they are. I consider that geothermal. That's a ground source heat pump. It has nothing to do with that hot spring that you saw. We're basically using shallow earth. So just like every truck used to be a Mack truck, every copy was a Xerox, every snowmobile was a Skidoo, everybody calls all of this geothermal, so just be familiar with the terms. Terminology. Ground source heat pump transfers energy with the earth using water. We need water. That's our energy source. So we have two ways of getting that water. One is some type of an open system where we're taking water, or a second one is a closed loop where we bury pipe in the earth and circulate our own water. But we need water. Water is our starting point. Open system. Too many times people call that an open loop. But if it's open, it can't be a loop. Okay? An open system is taking a source of water, many different ways. It could be from a well, could be from a spring. We're taking that water, you're diverting it into the ground source heat pump. You are then discharging that water to a lot of different ways. Back into another borehole, back into a pond, not legally back into a stream, but a lot of people just leave it flow across their yard. That's an open system. So why would you put in an open system? One of two reasons, it's all I can find. Less cost up front and less disturbance of the land. So what are the disadvantages of an open system? Well, there's many disadvantages of an open system. One is water quality. You are taking, depending on the size of your system, you could be pumping 2 or 3 million gallons a year through that heat pump. Better be good water. And not good water as far as drinking standards are concerned. That unit's not going to get sick from coliform bacteria. It will get sick from any kind of trace metal or heavy iron. So water quality better be good, really good. Other disadvantage, as I said, the amount of water we're pumping. You're going to pump 1 to 2 gallons a minute for every 12,000 BTUs you need for your house. So if you do that math quick, and you take the typical house that maybe needs 50 or 60,000 BTUs, that's about 3.7 million gallons of water a year you're going to pump out of the ground. Okay? Illegal. Most Not most, but a lot of townships, a lot of counties, and a few states have banned open systems, strictly because of what they're doing to the aquifers. Okay? So you really have to check your local regulations and make sure it's even legal. Financing. A lot of the finance companies. State of Pennsylvania, we have a HELP program, home energy loan program. It will not finance an open system. So you got to make sure your finance institution is willing to accept an open system. The third are maintenance. You're probably going to be cleaning your heat exchanger and doing some other maintenance to your unit a lot more with an open system than you would with a closed system. So they're just some of the quick disadvantages. So, it's a good point to talk about wells. I get that question almost the first question everyone will ask when they approach you. How many wells do I need for a geothermal system? The answer is 0. When you mention the word well, a well is something we pump something out of. That's my definition of a well. Okay? What's a well? It's an opening drilled, bored, or dug into the earth with the only purpose of extracting a liquid or a gas. That's a well. All right? So, a ground source system will use a well only if it's an open system. Terminology again. Everyone calls them all a well because a well driller drilled it. Well, not every telephone pole that they put a hole in the ground is a well. It's a borehole. Okay? So, terminology again. It's really important to understand. So, closed loop. On a closed loop system, we're going to bury pipe in the earth. The only pipe we'll ever see buried in the earth is HDPE, high density polyethylene. We will bury a series of this in the ground. It's technically called a ground loop heat exchanger. We'll fill this with our own fluid and circulate that forever. That's our energy source. Ground loop heat exchanger. How do we get this pipe in the earth? Well, there's a lot of different ways. So, back to our terminology. If I want to put this vertically in the ground, I've drilled a borehole. I have not drilled a well. Because I'm now going to insert this in the earth. I'm then going to seal that hole shut. It's no longer a well. It never was a well. It's a borehole that's sealed. Okay? So, ground source systems. Back to just a real quick review. A ground source system is using shallow earth. To me, 500 to 1,000 feet shallow earth. We have nothing to do with the core temperatures of the earth. Another question comes up all the time is, what's the temperature? Well, it really doesn't matter. We really aren't relying on a geothermal application per se. So that's generally the quick review of what it is.